What's going on, everyone? It is Friday night. We are getting the game going here, getting the ball rolling. 8:26 p.m. Hanging out with Giovanni.
How's it going?
Yeah, buddy. Giovanni just picked him up over in... Where did I pick you up? Brookline?
The West Roxbury.
Oh, it was West Roxbury?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Suburb, yeah.
What? So if you guys don't know, West Roxbury is a suburb of Boston. We do not discriminate against any of the suburbs. You know, we include them all in the Boston bond because they all make up Boston, really.
Amen.
This episode is going to be a little bit about Giovanni, and we got about 20 minutes here in the car, so I want to try to get pretty in depth and ask some questions because Giovanni was born here, but then he moved back to Haiti.
Yep.
And then he moved back here in 2004. Is that what you said?
Yes.
All right.
For college, yeah.
Sweet. So that's what I know about him so far to catch you guys up, and so we will go ahead and say what's up. So what's up, man?
What's going on, world? I'm honored to be featured on the podcast.
Yes.
I hope my story inspires someone, or at least is entertaining to someone.
Well, yes, man. I think it definitely will be. I mean, you hear about that all the time, right? I mean, my parents are from Portugal. They're from the Azores, and they came here when they were very, very young. My grandmother was actually born here in the States, but then moved back to Portugal to have my mom, and then moved back here. It was very confusing, but I feel like that was definitely more of a thing that happened, whereas nowadays I feel like kids are just staying here, you know? Like no one has really a lot of interest to go other places, you know? Maybe these generations will because of things like Trump and whatnot, but I mean
that could totally happen.
But yeah, man, so tell me, you said the biggest differences were cultural differences.
Yeah, cultural, lifestyle, social norms. So it's a completely different world, right? Your morals, your values, everything is completely different. So I think the simplest way to explain it is let's assume for a second that you were living in Martha's Vineyard, and that was all you knew. By Martha's Vineyard, I don't necessarily mean the nice houses and the big boats, but rather
on an
island vibe,
secluded,
exactly. So there's a certain you're chiller. I think people are they enjoy life more, and generally Haitian people are very welcoming, very jovial. They may only have $1, but they'll be willing to share it with a complete stranger. So
right.
There's that vibe, if you will, that sort of describe how I grew up in Haiti.
What did your parents do for work?
My dad used to work at a telecommunication company. He managed a team there. Honestly, I have no idea what it is exactly that he did. I can't really recall.
That's really
My mom
interesting.
was an accountant by training. Yeah, so that's what they did. So.
Okay, yeah. No, that's really interesting just because telecommunications, nowadays means something completely different than
Absolutely.
it did, when your dad was probably doing it,
Absolutely. For my dad, it meant cables on
yeah.
my dad started by putting together cable lines.
Yeah.
He started way back before I was born, but that's where he started. And when he was leading teams in my early teens, I left dating when I was 16, so again, put that in context. It was more about, it's changed. Now it's telecommunications more about internet. It's all about voice over IP. It's more about computers than about the actual act of putting together a landline.
Right.
So I hope that clarifies things for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So what's the currency in Haiti?
It's called Lagoude.
Lagoude.
Gourde.
Okay.
When you have multiple of it, you add an S to it. So if you have one good, it's a singular. If you have two of them, so that would be good with an S at the end.
So goods?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say goods or would you just still say?
Well, we have all kinds of. So in Haiti, we're bilingual. We speak French and Creole.
That's a very interesting fact.
And then we have all kinds of slangs. So honestly, I can't remember ever formally referring to it as a good. Rather, what we used to do is we used to at the time when I was growing up, I think the US dollar was worth 5 of those. So we would refer to $1. Funny enough, in colloquially speaking, when we're expressing to one another, we'd refer to $1, but the dollar would be 5 of the Haitian currency,
Okay.
which is la gold.
What about in today's day and age? Is
Oh
it
man,
still...
I don't even know, man. But I can tell you it's not 5. As I told you, like Haiti's economic situation has worsened. Since actually.
Let me ask you, do you have an iPhone?
I do.
Do you use Siri?
I do, but I don't think Siri even recognized my accent.
All right, you should just for fun. You should try it right now. Ask Siri to convert, I don't know, $100 US into, and then whatever you.
Oh, man, it's probably worth $100,000, 100,000 of my currency. So, one Haitian currency is worth 100th of.
You said it used to be 5, and now it's 100. 100th. Yeah, I mean like
0.01. Exactly. That's exactly what it's worth. So one Haitian good is worth 0.01 of
so it would be a penny.
Exactly. 100, yes. A penny, yes. I know. That puts things in perspective, huh?
Okay, so what should we talk about, man?
Well, I think we should talk about life, man. I think what's super important, and I think one thing that I'd like people to know is that not all Haitian people have the same experience, A. And B...
What do you mean by that?
Well, because...
Give me 2 examples. Like
when I first came to America, people assumed that because I was from Haiti, that, you know, I lived in, like, surrounded by trash, in a hut somewhere. I had never seen a computer.
Do people live in huts in Haiti?
Some parts of the country, yes.
Okay.
The same way there are some parts of America where people live in huts, you know? So that's one thing that's very important. Just because people are from a poor country, that CNN only highlights the worst parts of it.
Yeah, fuck you, CNN.
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
I think they need to be a little bit more balanced. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's emblematic of every single Haitian person. So that's one. 2, I'd like people to know that, you know, we are a very hardworking group of people.
Oh, 100%.
There's this connotation. When I came to America, when I had that experience firsthand, again, I'm not complaining, but rather it's more, at this stage, I consider it a part of the American experience.
Yeah.
Like the Irish had their problems when they came in, the Italians, you name it.
Right.
Once you show up, it's your rite of passage of sorts. So the second thing for me was about our work ethic. I think that people question that a lot, like because you're an immigrant, you're probably lazy and whatnot. Well, to me, that was a big thing that I felt like gave me a little bit of a mini chip on my shoulder. So yeah. Yeah, so who's your audience? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, so this is brand new, man. Mm-hmm. So this is like 3 weeks. 3 weeks. This is the 4th episode.
Oh, correct.
Yeah.
What did you talk about in the other ones?
Honestly, dude, I've had only girls so far.
Really?
And a lot. One of them was a bartender. She would tell me this story about this police officer who got really drunk and like came back on trash day and like poured a bunch of trash over the bar. So that was really interesting.
That's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that I acquiesce.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, it's just very interesting stories, right? So like, yeah, that was one. Another one was a girl. We were talking about just the differences of Uber and Lyft, and how she was in a car when the driver actually hit a person on a bike. So like that, you know, just listening to the story of how the procedure goes after. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
How they're different? I'm curious because I feel like people that do Lyft do Uber as well.
Oh yeah. So I mean. Well, we could get into that if you want, but let me ask you because I've already talked about this for a long time on this. But what do you take both?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more of a pricing thing for me.
Okay, that's what literally everyone says the same thing.
Like I have 3 of them. I have Fast, I have Uber, and I have Lyft. But to be fair, I started using Uber a long time when I was in San Francisco. So obviously back then it was marketed as a luxury vehicle. They only had black cars. So it was when I wanted to impress a girl, I would order an Uber, show up, I got my chauffeur, open the door. I felt like a baller. Wanted to give her the concierge experience. Ladies, if you're listening to this, ladies, think of it as me being mindful and very thoughtful.
Covering all his bases.
So that was it. But now, I mean, given competition, it's like really about, hey, pricing. Lyft is generally cheaper. Fasten is probably the cheapest. So, yeah.
So that's what. Okay, so is that the only difference that you notice between them? I mean, do you notice any difference in the drivers?
No.
Because you think that a lot of them just do both?
That's my perception. But usually I'm one of those people that either put my headphones in and zone out, I'll make conversation sometimes, but yeah, I'm one of those people that usually put his headphones on. I give two jokes, make sure the driver's having a good time, and he's not psycho, and then I zone into my world.
Make sure
So
he's not psycho.
I wouldn't say that it's the norm, but I would say that for me the experience it's similar.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
interchangeable. It's a commodity from my perspective.
All right, so we got about 5 minutes left. So let's close. Let's kind of close in on a couple last things. So you
Sure.
said you went to Boston College or BU?
Yes, Boston College.
Boston College. Okay, so you went to
Broad
BC.
Eagle.
And
Thank you, BC.
and what did you study?
Studied political science, history.
Political science, history.
Political
I wish we had another
science,
50 minutes now to talk.
history, And I also did some minor in peace, faith, and justice, where I wanted to understand how those issues impact social political life for people.
Okay.
And I wrote my thesis on inequality in jurisprudence. So.
And what do you do now?
I just quit my job.
Really?
So that's what I'm doing now.
What were you doing?
I was working in business operations. I was managing a business operations team supporting a sales organization at a tech company.
Okay. And
So
you
I
weren't
did-
liking that?
Well, I mean, I think it was a terrific experience, but I think at this juncture of my evolution, I think I needed a more rewarding experience, and I didn't think that experience satisfied me.
Okay. Wow, that's awesome.
I didn't mean to be too diplomatic, but that's
No, I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
trying to give people that might be college students listening to this some sort of light at the end of the tunnel, sort of guidance, because obviously a lot of kids go to school, they get a degree, and then they never get a job in what they...
that's
You
totally the norm, man. And listen, to anybody that's a college student, it doesn't matter what you study. Just try to get good grades, because that thing is important.
Yeah.
Because it allows you, because ultimately employers look at grades as a filter. Are you an idiot or are you smart? It's binary. Cannot
Yeah.
teach that person to do this job that I think is fairly complicated. That's fundamentally, as somebody that has to hire people, that's how I think about it.
I
So-
think that is the point to take away from this podcast,
Yeah.
you guys. I mean, honestly, that's very true. I hear all the time stories of people that might have studied English, but then they get into marketing,
Yeah.
and it's
Become
like,
bankers too. Yeah.
yeah, I was banking actually right before this. Before I became a driver, I was in the banking field. Yeah, so I mean, just do really well, prove that you're smart, and yeah.
And if you did that, if after 5 years it really doesn't matter. Your experience in your work, the way your job work experience does matter. If you kick ass, even if you don't like the job, make sure you kick ass. That's very important because it speaks to your character, and character is something that is really hard to change once you start setting those precedents. So there you go.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Of course.
Well, we got 3 minutes left, and I want to say thank you so much, man.
It's been my pleasure and an honor.
I like getting to know you, man.
Oh, the pleasure
You're
was all
very
mine.
well spoken. You've really learned English really well.
Thank you, VC. I get the credit for that. Shout out to VC for hooking it up, scholarship style. Thank you.
You're very positive, man. You got a great your aura. Your being, your character is very likable. It's
Well,
like
thank you.
some people you don't want to be near them, and you have the opposite effect. You really want to get to know you, man.
Thank
So
you. Well,
yeah.
it's free. It's the least I can do.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It's completely free. So
But I mean, and I'm gonna get a little, heavy right now because
Sure.
I think
Doesn't
that's
matter.
you got it sometimes. But listen, honestly, man, I mean, this time in this country isn't easy for African Americans and
No, it's not. It's not.
and so for you to be chipper like you are and still be upbeat, dude, like you really set the tone. You really are helping people understand and realize, and that's the point of the Boston Bond, is to help people understand that it's okay to be positive and to be happy and to not let the everyday mainstream media bring you down, because they are
absolutely.
so divisive. I mean,
Absolutely. But I think it's incumbent upon us really to take on that challenge. Really, I think of it as a challenge. When there's something wrong in the world, there's two ways to respond to it. You can let it consume you, or you can say the buck stops here, and I have a voice, and my voice will be the change that galvanizes it. And I think that I think of it as my responsibility, really, in life, really beyond job, paycheck, and whatever, to really take a stand on those divisive issues by my day-to-day, my actions, my outlook. How do those contribute to set the tone? or reset the precedent and set a new expectation. That's very important to me. So,
Yeah,
and
well
I
said.
encourage other people to think of things the same way. One key message, and I think that's the last thing that I would say, is that we are, just because we don't necessarily agree on policies, politics, and how we should govern our country, should not make us divided. I think it's imperative for people to understand that just because I believe in small government potentially, or maybe I believe in a big government, aka I'm more of a on the right versus the left, depending on how you think about politics or your choices. It doesn't matter. We're still human. We bleed red, and if they poke us, we're gonna bleed. We all think all have a brain, and as such, we're part of this family. And that fabric, if you will, is what's make us one. And small things like politics, however important they may be, shouldn't divide us as humans. So,
I agree, Giovanni. Man,
pleasure.
This is it, right? Right here?
Yes, sir.
On the left or the right?
Yes, left hand side.
Left hand side. Okay, man.
Thank you so very much.
Well, bro, it's been a pleasure.
The pleasure was all mine.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Until next time, and good luck, man.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
this is great.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, check it out sometime.